This is your Vancouver real estate market update for August 2022. And we're getting into it right after this. Hey everyone, I'm Craig Veroni with RE/MAX Masters Realty, your local real estate agent here in Vancouver, BC. In today's video, we're going to talk about what's happened in the Vancouver real estate market through the month of July and what's coming that could affect that market. I have a very special guest with me today. Alex McFadyen of Thrive Mortgage Company is a good friend of mine and part of my team. Like, one of the most important things as a real estate agent is to have incredible people and team members around you. And Alex, I appreciate it. Alex and Thrive has been one of those partners for me for a long, long time. Can you believe it's been 3 years since we've done a video together? 3 years. We talked about it. The time warp is real. It's been 3 long years since we've done a video, and I'm excited to talk a little bit more today about what's going on, what people are doing, and just really, calm down the nerves. Awesome, awesome. Listen, guys, I shoot a ton of videos about what it's like to live, love, and own here in Vancouver. So if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you never miss a video. Really want you to be able to stay up to date on all the latest tips and insights into the Vancouver real estate market so you can become an expert too. So let's jump into it. The Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver reports that residential home sales in the region saw a 43.3% decrease from those sales recorded in July of 2021 and a 22.8% decrease from those sales recorded in June of this year. Last month's sales were 35.2% below the 10-year July sales average. Now, there are a number of factors that are contributing to these stats. What do you think is the most important factor right now?
Craig, there obviously are so many considerations. Let's start on the mortgage piece itself. So we've seen a reduction in home sales, as you've mentioned. We've also seen some reduction, as you'll talk about, in home prices. I think that from a lending perspective, there's a few considerations. Number one, we all know what's happened. The Bank of Canada is increasing the interest rates. That's reduced borrowing power. However, with that being said, I think that's only a very small percentage of people. For those listeners who may not know, we use a stress test or a qualifying interest rate, which is 2% above the minimum interest rate that someone gets. So today we're qualifying for about 15% less than perhaps we did, 6 months ago. But that's not the only reason, because as we know, most people aren't actually qualifying to their maximums, believe it or not. In Vancouver, there's a lot of people who have more money down, or they're taking longer amortization periods. So I think that's a small percentage of it. The second thing is, in my opinion, vacations, lifestyle, summer. Listen, we had, as we just talked about it, we were in a time warp for 2 or 3 years. Ultimately, people are out enjoying vacations. They're not as stressed about buying that level of home because they need more space for their families right now. They're in Mexico or Hawaii or at their summer cabin. And so a combination of rates increasing causing some level of reduced qualification, but then you add in people enjoying life. I think at the end of the day this was to be expected. And we're coming from a year ago when it was at its extreme peak, right? And we've seen month-over-month decreases for 4 months now. Yeah. So prior to these, interest rates starting to climb, the market was already shifting gears, right? Yeah. We had come off of the peak and things were already beginning to slow down. Yeah. I think things have maybe moved a little quicker with the slowdown given the interest rate hikes, but the market was already correcting itself. Speaking of which, so for those, so much news has been out there about the Bank of Canada's increases and what they're trying to do. One of the things that we've learned in our business, we process, 30, 40, 50 files a week here. And so we get to talk to a lot of different people, investors, first-time buyers, people moving in from different countries, people moving up, all these different situations. And the biggest thing that stops people is fear of the unknown, not understanding the difference. So when we talk about a 10% reduction in qualification, a lot of people will just think, I can't necessarily qualify, which actually isn't the truth. As I mentioned earlier, it's maybe 10% of your maximum qualification, but with most people not actually going to their maximum, I would argue that maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 people are impacted in any way when it comes to being able to qualify for a loan. So my general outset is it's more about fear of the unknown versus actually not being able to do something. And the second piece is there's no doubt interest rates came from record lows, 1.5%, 2% interest rates to 4.5% rates. Again, context is everything. If I went from a 2% rate to a 4% rate, does that mean my payment doubles? No. Not at all, but a lot of folks think it does, and that's stopping them from basically jumping out and saying, I want to buy a house. So you've lost a lot of the impulsive crowd. You've got people enjoying life. At the end of the day, I think this is a short-term lull, but we'll see.
Home buyers are exercising more caution in today's market in response to rising interest rates and inflationary concerns. This allowed the selection of homes for sale to increase, as well as prices to edge downward over the last number of months throughout the region. After 2 years of market conditions that have been favoring sellers, home buyers now have more selection to choose from and more time to make those decisions. In today's changing housing market, home buyers and home sellers should invest the time to understand what these changes mean for their personal circumstances. And one of those things is to connect with a mortgage professional like Alex. So can you speak to the current situation, sort of what you're advising clients right now, and what this might mean for certain buyers who, for instance, maybe have purchased a home 3, 4, 5 years ago. Maybe they're coming up for a renewal, and they're trying to decide what to do. Do they just renew that mortgage? If they're in a condo, is now a good time to move up to a townhouse or a detached house if that's what they're looking for?
Lots to unpack. I'd say let's start off with some general principles that we recommend all the time, but specifically in this market, people are paying more attention to. And the first and most important thing is to understand your cash flow. Most people don't take the time in any market for that matter to actually break down their budget and understand how much money they're contributing to their expenses. So a big thing for us and a tool we provide our clients immediately is to actually figure out what your cash flow is. And Craig, if your listeners would like, get them to reach out to us, we'll provide that cash flow tool for them to get started. So know your cash flow, know your situation. The reality is costs are going up everywhere. We know this, right? But understand your situation. Most people can still afford to buy a home or live in a home. And the reality with rising rents is now more than ever, it might make sense to own versus rent, as we see rents go up 10, 15, 20%.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers.
Yeah.
So the first thing is get your cash flow sorted out. That's super important.
Yep.
The second thing is strategy. We've seen interest rates increase just as fast as we saw them go down. Rates don't go up forever. Interest rates will go up and they will come back down. Historically speaking, anytime we see rates go up as fast as we have, there's been 6 times in the last 30 years, every time within 12 to 24 months later, so that's 1 to 2 years later, they came back down. Okay, so we should remind people that don't lock yourself into a long-term situation on a high interest rate when the reality is it might come back down. Stay level-headed. Look at your situation first. Now let's assess a situation where someone has a mortgage. So if you have a loan right now and you're wondering, what the heck do I do? I'm coming up for renewal in the next 12 months. You should definitely be talking to someone, well, whether it's not us, someone who's independent that can look at your options. Right. There's a few things that you can do. First and foremost, typically, as long as you have 20% equity, which a lot of people do these days, or if your home's increased in value, you can re-extend that loan. Okay, so let's say you had a loan in 2018, your payment was $2,100 on a $500,000 mortgage at that time, somewhere in that ballpark, and today you renew and you see your payments closer to $2,800. Well, you can refinance and re-extend that loan to bring it back to $2,100 payment. A few years from now, you can also do the same thing all over again to increase or reduce your rate at that time, and of course continue to pay it down faster. More than now than ever, like, people can look at, what if I were to increase my payments or add more money to my principal, right? If you're in a variable rate loan right now and you see your payment fluctuating, why not consider switching it over into a static variable rate mortgage, one where the payments don't fluctuate? Basically, there's a lot of things you can do. The number one thing people should be doing is having a conversation. Absolutely. Don't forget about it. Don't not think about it. Most people that we're talking to, people that are making that step up or that move up that we're talking about right now, are the ones who are reaching out. They are having conversations. They are looking at their budget and they're realizing, oh my goodness, the upgrade from my condo to my townhome now is only $150,000, which really is only, let's say, $600 difference in a budget. Whereas if they were to do this a year ago, it would have cost them $400,000 more. This is going to sound corny, Craig, so I hope you like this one, but we tell people the same thing right now with house prices lower. You're gonna marry the house, you're gonna date the rate, which means you buy the house for what you pay for it, but the rate can be changed anytime. So remember that going into it.
Yeah. The MLS Home Price Index composite benchmark for all residential properties in Metro Vancouver is currently $1,207,400. This represents a 10.3% increase from July of 2021 and a 2.8% decrease from June of 2022. So beware of all of the media talking about, how the sky is falling, prices are crashing, because we are still up 10.3% from this time last year. If you want to stay on top of the market, whether you're a buyer or a seller, knowledge is key. And the SnapStats market reports are a fantastic way to arm yourself with tons of knowledge about your specific market area. To download those full reports, simply click on the images below for either the Metro Vancouver, Greater Vancouver, or Fraser Valley reports. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, down in the description below is a link to a sample report. Please go ahead and review that, and if you think that it's something of value, and trust me, you are going to love these reports, simply fill out your name and email address to start receiving those reports immediately.
There is no doubt that right now, and specifically obviously from the last couple of years, more now than ever, people want to see not only the listings, but they want to see to believe, if that makes sense. And so I think when marketing a property, it's the baseline now to do proper photos, to do proper videos, to do those things. And obviously we know you go the extra mile with professional quality on your videos, but it makes a difference for a buyer to walk into a home that's been well prepared, that they've been able to visually see it. Specifically now when we're seeing people move across the country, right? We're seeing people move from different cities, from different communities. And so to be able to look at that from a marketing perspective, we call it marketing. They look at their future home, right? What does that look like? Can I see myself there? And to have photos that are taken on a cell phone is just really not enough these days. And that's a deep conversation.
You use a lot of video marketing for your clients as well. I mean, your Instagram, you've got, great content every single day with really informative pieces of content. And I think that power of education through the the video format has been really successful for you guys, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people want to understand more than just what is a rate and what is a cost associated with that. So using video has allowed us to do, as you mentioned, have a conversation with our viewers and talk to them and explain to them specifically why something occurs, but more importantly, how it impacts them, and do it in a way that we're going to talk normally anyways. So it's not just, speaking to us here and then you're talking to a robot over there. You're talking to the same people here and there, building a relationship, which is absolutely key. Mortgages and real estate, there's just so much information that you can digest, and it's such a hot topic, and the news grabs a hold of it. And this is why we do so much video content, is to make sure that instead of you guys having to watch the news or the media, you get good information straight from a source from people who do this every single day, all day long. It really is a commitment, because this is outside of our office hours. I've probably got to go take 10 more calls after this is all said and done. But at the end of the day, it's worth it, right?
Absolutely. I want to thank Alex McFadyen from Thrive Mortgage Company again for sitting down with me in today's market update video. It's always a pleasure to sit down with you, my friend. Let's not wait 3 more years before we do this again.
Agreed. Thank you. And I appreciate you coming to the office, Craig. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Hey, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed that video and you want to learn more about Metro Vancouver neighborhoods,
yeah, Mr. Craig has more videos on YouTube than you could possibly find. So check out Craig's videos. You've got so much there, from neighborhood tours. I heard about your $1 million listings. I'm really excited about those ones. Those will be fun, and all the pre-sale stuff. So definitely subscribe to this guy.
You can check out that playlist right here, and yes, hit that subscribe button here, because on this channel you're going to find everything you need to live, love, and own here in Vancouver. So don't forget to subscribe.